What's up guys, Chris Leininger here, founder of Epic Expeditions, and today we are going to be going through the packing list and all of the gear requirements for the K2 base camp trek in Pakistan. Given the fact that this trip is 2 weeks and we're going through a bunch of different climactic zones, there's quite a lot of gear to go over, so let's jump right into it. So the main bag you're going to bring that's going to hold all of your gear throughout the trek is the Expedition duffel bag. Now, we recommend you bring a duffel between 90 and 120 liters. There's a lot of different sort of expedition duffels on the market out there. This is the Epic Expeditions duffel bag, but North Face makes great duffel bags, as does REI, Patagonia. The brand doesn't really matter. What does matter is that the size is big enough for your needs, that it's made out of this sort of tarpaulin material to keep your gear dry in case of any rain or snowfall along the way. So next up, we're going to talk about the all-important day pack. Now, this is the backpack that you will be carrying day in and day out along the trek. Personally, I use a 35-liter hybrid hiking and photo backpack from Atlas Packs. This works really well for me because I'm carrying photo equipment, a drone, plus my hiking layers, down jacket, water, sun cream. The backpack really comes down to a personal preference and what your personal needs are. You can probably get away with something as small as 25 liters, no worries if you don't have any big camera or anything. I would not go bigger than 35 liters. There's just no need. You won't be needing to carry gear that takes up that much space. So guys, up next we're going to be talking about arguably the most important thing you are going to be bringing on the K2 trek. That is your sleep system. Sleeping bag, inflatable air mattress, and your down pillow. For sleeping bag, we recommend a 0 degree Fahrenheit or minus 17 Celsius rated sleeping bag. If you have anything that's rated higher than that in the sense of a summer sleeping bag or something that's intended for lower altitudes, you simply will not be warm enough. I must emphasize that you need a 0 degree Fahrenheit sleeping bag. In terms of the air mattresses, there's a lot of stuff on the market. This one is made by Nemo. It's the Tensor air mattress, and it is rated for extreme cold ground conditions. You don't necessarily need something that has an extreme insulation rating, but if you have it in your budget if you're getting something new, get something that has excellent insulation protection. Same for the down pillow. A lot of stuff on the market. Basically, choose one that you think looks good. I have this one from Xped. It's very comfortable. It takes 5 seconds to blow up. All of these things combined will ensure you get your maximum rest each night along the trail. We're going to be going over now the essential gear that you will use on a daily basis. So for the lower altitudes, this is the first few days of the trek when it's warmer temperatures. You are using a thin, synthetic, lightweight trekking pant that will serve you well as kind of sun protection and will also keep you warm if the temperatures drop a bit. You're wearing a simple merino, thin, lightweight t-shirt that dries easily. It's also a clothing item that you can wear multiple days in a row. For the socks as well at lower altitudes, thin merino socks. No cotton ever. You also want to have a pair of lightweight gloves like this always in your day pack. Really all you need for a layer on the first few days at the lower altitudes is just a Gore-Tex shell, rain jacket, and you're pretty much sorted. Moving on to the colder weather altitudes, all of that stuff pretty much stays the same, but you will add in a base layer merino top layer. You will also have a fleece layer to go over that, paired with a down jacket that will be in your backpack. The down jacket that you're going to be wearing like most of the trip at the different camps is just your standard 800 fill down jacket. This is a Rab jacket. They're very good multi-purpose down jackets. I then have a second heavier high loft down jacket that I can throw on top of this in case it gets really cold. I tend to use this only from kind of Concordia, K2 Base Camp, and Gondogoro Law. Apart from that, it mostly just lives in my duffel bag. But it's always good to have an extra layer in case we encounter sudden snow or you tend to run cold. If we're hanging out in camp and you're feeling cold, it is great to have this extra high loft down layer to throw on top. For the bottom layers, it is important to remember that on the K2 trek we are dealing with a broad spectrum of temperature differences. So again, when we start, temperatures tend to be warmer. Many people, including myself, we like to start wearing a pair of shorts. It's kind of up to you. It's also knowing that the sun is harsh, and unfortunately in Pakistan it's not really appropriate for women to be wearing shorts. I know it's not fair, but this is how it is there. So if you're a lady, I would say a thin pair of leggings or trekking pants, and if you're a guy, to start with, having a pair of light shorts for the first few days is the way to go. Then we are moving back to the thin trekking pant. This is probably what you'll be wearing the majority of the time. As the temperatures increase, we suggest a kind of thicker multi-sport trekking pant. Black Diamond makes these significantly thicker than this. So this is not something I'd be wearing in warmer temperatures. It's really only for 4,000 meters and above, I'd say, especially at night. I like to wear these. The base layer is also crucial to sleep in at night, and also just for hanging out at camp in colder temperatures. So it would probably be from 4,000 to 4,500 meters or above. You'd be wearing some combination of the base layers, your thicker pant, and of course having the Gore-Tex layer handy, either in your trekking bag or in your duffel bag that you can change into in case it rains, in case it snows. You want to be able to put your rain pants over anything else that you have. Some people also choose to climb Gondogoro with these. I don't really recommend because we're unlikely to encounter rain on Gondogoro. It would be more snowfall. But these are the 4 layering systems, and you basically need one of each, maybe 2 of the lightweight trekking pants. But for the thicker mid-weight pants and the Gore-Tex layer and the thermal merino bottom layers, 1 of each is good. 1 pair of shorts, 2 pairs of the light trekking pants, and you are good to go. So next up is the glove and the buff system. So the glove that you're going to be using majority of the time, simple, thin, lightweight glove. It dries easily, it's good for sun protection. This is the glove that you have in your day pack all the time. So the next step is kind of the mid-weight glove. These are the gloves that I use at higher altitude, even on climbing peaks above 6,000 meters. Love these gloves from the North Face. They're Summit series. They have leather, waterproof on the palm side. On this side, they are not waterproof, but they're plenty warm. And crucially, they give me dexterity in my fingers, let me change the rope around. I really love these gloves for kind of as a multi-purpose high altitude glove. These gloves that I also carry are a step up from these in terms of warmth, but they aren't as good for the dexterity in the fingers, so I only use them if it's very cold. For your purposes, you need to plan on bringing 1 thin pair of gloves definitely, and then some version of this that suits you. It has a Gore-Tex membrane or not, that's up to you. The important thing is that you can still use your fingers. Having a pair of like Expedition mitts is not what we recommend, because then you can't use your fingers. Choose some combination of these for yourself. For the buff systems, I use this one most often, the thin classic merino buff. Great for sun protection, good for dust protection, wind protection. I'm wearing this every single day of the trip. If it gets a little bit colder, I have a medium weight merino buff as well. I use this one less, but in windy or cold conditions, especially at night or hanging around camp, I like to use this mid-weight one. This one is optional. It's kind of what I call a polar buff. It's a thick fleece buff that can go over your whole bottom half of your face and cover your neck. Very optional again if you tend to run cold or have had experiences in like windy conditions where you don't find your face or neck is warm enough for the standard buff. Pick up a polar fleece buff. Beanies, very personal choice, whatever works for you. I use this beanie from the North Face. It has fleece lining on the inside, very toasty for hanging out at camp or on cold, windy top of Gondogoro. So footwear for the K2 trek. I generally start off the trip wearing a pair of trail runners like this. They are light, they are grippy, they are do well in warm temperatures. So I would definitely pack a pair of trail runners combined with a more traditional leather Gore-Tex hiking boot. Depends kind of on your personal preference, but these do well when the temperatures are cooler. These are not waterproof at all. These are waterproof and they give you more ankle support. Having both in your duffel bag is good to be able to switch it up basically based on the day's conditions, or just wear these on the second half of the trek when the temperatures are just cooler day to day. Having a pair of simple flip-flops for camp to change into, and when you go to the river to wash your feet, these are great to have. A very much optional footwear item, but ones that I personally love are the down booties. These are great for hanging out at camp when it's, around freezing, higher altitude camps. If you have it in your budget, get some down booties. And talking about boots for Gondogoro law, so we recommend a B1 single or double alpine boot. I personally use the La Sportiva G2 SM boots. I've had these boots for years. They're great alpine footwear. However, they might be overkill for you. It depends on your mountaineering objectives. If you're wanting to do something more in the world of mountaineering after the K2 base camp trek, investing in a pair of these is definitely the way to go. If you're not sure, or you just don't have the budget for a brand new pair of these, which run about $800, you can get what's called a single boot from either La Sportiva or Scarpa or a similar brand that still have the crampon welts. They don't have the high price tag, and they're just a bit more versatile than these are, because these are really high altitude only sort of boots. Very importantly, when you go to buy your crampons, which I'll discuss in a minute, is make sure the type of crampons that you get are compatible with the boots that you choose. Specifically, that if you buy, say, automatic crampons that have the fixture, you need to have the rear and front welts to receive them. For example, these boots do not have any means of receiving an automatic crampon. So when you get your crampons, be sure to test them on your boots at home, make sure they fit well before you come to Pakistan. Next up, we're talking about socks. So I'll start by saying no cotton, never any cotton socks. So all of your socks should be merino. Definitely bring one thin pair of socks that can go with your trail runners, and then bring 5 to 6 other pairs of your standard thick sort of merino socks that you can wear multiple days in a row. Usually 6 pairs is enough, and also depending on the type of boots that you get, like these are Summit socks for Gondogoro law, very thick, warm merino socks that go with my 6,000 meter boots. These are sort of optional, but yeah, very nice to have. They go up to just below the knee. Very warm and cozy also for hanging around camp. And the rest of these socks are just the Darn Tough brand socks that I have been wearing for years. They work great. In terms of the specialty gear needed for climbing Gondogoro law, so any sort of climbing harness will do. I use the altitude harness from Petzl because it's lightweight and packs down really well, but basically any climbing harness will do. In terms of the slings that you need, these are only used to secure yourself onto the fixed line. So we ask that you bring 2, and which size you bring will kind of depend on your height. So on our packing list, we suggest bringing a 60 centimeter sling, which will work for most people. People who are a little taller might find that this is a little short. So in that case, the next size up is a 120. This seems way bigger, obviously it's double the size, but these can also be adjusted and modified and easily shortened if you need. So bringing 2 slings is very important, either the 120 or the 60 centimeter. In terms of the carabiners, we want to have 2 locking carabiners. These are ones that have this twisting locking mechanism. It's also possible to get away with 1 automatic carabiner, which is a spring-loaded carabiner that locks automatically, opens and closes by this little spring. So if you have these already, you can bring 1 or 2 of them, but for sure you need 2 locking carabiners also. So the last specialty item that you need for Gondogoro law is a pair of crampons. So there are many different types of crampons on the market. There are the strap-on kind, there are semi-automatic, automatic. So these are a pair of automatic crampons that fit my 6,000 meter boots. These are excellent crampons made by Grivel, very easy to put on as well. So basically the type of crampons that you are going to get really depends on what type of boots you have. So if you have a proper 6,000 meter alpine boot that has the crampon welts on either side, then you have kind of more options. If you are planning to, for example, strap on a crampon to your hiking boot or something like that, base your crampon purchase choice around what type of boots you plan on wearing for Gondogoro Law. Keep in mind, you only need your crampons for 1 day on this trip, for Gondogoro Law only. You don't wear them when we go to K2 Base Camp. You don't wear them at any other stage. So there's essentially just like a 6 to 8 hour period where you're wearing these crampons. Keep that in mind before you blow your whole budget on a brand new crampons. But also get something that work. Micro spikes, these little spikes that fit on over your shoe, they don't really work. They're not enough. They're not adequate for the sort of mountain we're dealing with Gondogoro Law. So if you have any questions, again, about crampons or boots, please just contact us directly so we can go over the options with you. Obviously, one more bit of important gear we need for descending Gondogoro Law safely is a helmet. This is the only time on the whole trek that we will use the helmet. So it will just live in your duffel bag until the day we go for Gondogoro Law. You will wear it going up, wear it going down, and then it goes back in your duffel for the rest of the trip. Kind of any standard climbing helmet will do. Not a ski helmet, not a bicycle helmet. It really needs to be a climbing helmet. Just a tip for me as well, when you're traveling with these, they're actually fragile. So I recommend bringing it in your carry-on bag, not in your checked duffel bag when you're traveling to and from Pakistan. I've lost a few helmets that way, so just take care of them when you're traveling in the planes. Electronics on this trip, again, if you're bringing a camera, a drone, or whatever you're bringing for photography, this is personal preference, optional thing. Things that you should definitely have, at least one headlamp. These are great because they have a rechargeable battery, easily charged on a power bank. I recommend these over ones with the traditional batteries that you have to replace. If you have two, I do recommend bringing two. It's good to just have a backup in case your other one dies, or to have two for Gondogoro Law as a backup is great. Personally, I bring multiple power banks because I'm charging a lot of electronics with my cameras and things. Usually one 20,000 amp power bank is enough, also considering we have a generator along the trip where you can recharge your power bank, but definitely having a power bank where you can recharge your phone, your watch, your other stuff in your tent is pretty important. So whether you need one or two, this is up to you. And also considering your 20 kilogram allowance for the porters, these are heavy. So if you have multiple, it all adds up. Garmin InReach is something all of our staff and guides carry. It's a two-way satellite communication device. These are optional for you to have if you want to bring one. They're pretty cool. They allow you to receive and send messages to your family back home. Optional item. But yeah, great to have for this adventure and just generally to have for other adventures. Another optional item is the old solar charger. So this is nice as well to charge things like your phone, your headphones, your watch, things that don't require a lot of power. If you don't want to wait for the generator, which we tend to only run at night or to use on the days where we have free time, the solar charger is great. Anchor makes this one. It has 2 ports, so you can charge 2 things at once. These are basically all of the things, the essentials you need for the K2 trek. Just be sure to pack all of the cables that you need, and for reference, the electricity in Pakistan is like a standard European 220 volt. So if you're coming from US or Canada, you need to have an adapter. Another very important topic or category in the packing list is your kind of water system and how you manage water along the trek. Every member is required to carry a Grail purifier bottle. This happens to be the titanium version. This allows you to purify water anywhere we go in Pakistan, from the hotels in Islamabad and Skardu to anywhere along the trek. It's pretty low tech as well, just the filter screws onto the bottom. Dirty water in here, you press it down, boom, you have clean water. Just a classic Nalgene in which you can fill this from the Grail bottle. This setup here allows you to carry 2 liters, which is kind of the maximum you need at any one time. Having a Nalgene as well, you can put hot water at the different camps, at the colder, higher altitude camps. You can put it in your sleeping bag at night and just have an extra bottle of clean water with you. The option is to bring a camelback. I personally don't really like those water reservoir camelback things. One, they can leak. Two, they can freeze at higher altitudes, and the kind of freeze-thaw combination isn't so good. That's up to you though. If you are one of these people who love Camelback, I do appreciate that they make it easier to hydrate along the way. So if you're used to using that or you have one, feel free to bring it. Generally though, this is the setup that is gonna make it so that you have a successful, well-hydrated and comfortable trip. Again, Grail bottle, mandatory, can't do the trip without it. You can either get the titanium version like this or the just classic GeoPress version. It's up to you. So if you need to ask us why do you need to have trekking poles, then you're probably not a person who already uses trekking poles. My opinion is you should absolutely bring and be using trekking poles. There's countless benefits, from having more balance as you go downhill to being able to use your upper body a bit to propel yourself upward when you're going up. Also saves the impact on your knees when you're going down. If you've never used trekking poles before and you're a bit hesitant, this is probably the trip to learn with them. You have a lot of time to have practice using them. And there are many different types of trekking poles. Personally, I use these carbon fiber Lecky trekking poles because they're collapsible, easily fit in my duffel or my day backpack, and they're also very lightweight. But you can find all sorts of models that are kind of fixed length or adjustable, made from aluminum, that cost a bit less than the carbon fiber models. If you have it in your budget to go with the carbon fiber ones, I highly recommend. They're great. I've been using these specific ones for a few years. Trekking poles will really make you have a better trek and have your knees feeling better generally at the end of each day. You might have guessed, but the Karakoram sun is extremely strong, and you have snow on the nearby peaks that are reflecting back at you, and you really need to have good eye protection. So I carry two types of sunglasses. These are just standard sunglasses that I'm wearing majority of the time. Very important that they're polarized. If you just get some cheap sunglasses from the gas station or somewhere that have low quality lenses, you will hurt your eyes on this trip. So it's very important to have sunglasses that are polarized. These are a level up from those, so they are polarized Glacier glasses that have the little side protectors. I really like these as well when it's a really sunny day and there's a lot of white peaks all around. It helps with combating the reflection off of the ice and the snow. So I tend to use these, again, more at the higher altitudes when the sun is more intense. Like, these are what I wear more on the day-to-day of the trek. But I really suggest having both. And in both cases, you need to make sure that they are polarized. Valen makes these. They have a few different models, just classic Ray-Bans that have the polarization, as I said. So whatever kind of model of sunglass is up to you that you choose. It's just the crucial bit is that they are polarized, and then I highly recommend getting glasses as well that have the side shields. You'll be really happy you had these at the higher altitudes. So important headgear. Of course, everybody should have some sort of hat. Doesn't have to be this exact style of hat, but something to give shade to your face. It will help keep you cool. Again, the sun is very strong, and you need something that's covering your head and your face. Standard, like baseball style trucker hat like this is fine. The mesh back, it breathes well. This is kind of up to you. Having a warm beanie as well. You probably will never be hiking in this. Maybe on Gondogoro you will be. But it's great for hanging out at camp in the colder temperatures. So it doesn't really matter what type of beanie that you bring, just as long as it fits you well and that it's warm enough, goes over your ears. So hat, beanie, pretty much all you need in combination with the buffs in terms of headgear. I know in this video I didn't go into super detail about female specific gear, so I wanted to point you to an article that we wrote in collaboration with some past female Epic clients that goes into all sorts of insightful tips and gear recommendations for female trekkers. You can check out the article in the link in the description. Alright guys, congratulations. You made it to the end of this K2 Basecamp Trek packing list video. So this trip is one of the most beautiful and fun multi-day trekking expeditions that you can do. And really, to get the most out of it comes down to your own preparation and the sort of gear that you bring on this trip. So now you know all of the recommendations and everything you need to have an awesome time. So we hope this video was informative for you. Please let us know how we did in the comments, and we look forward to trekking with you in Pakistan sometime soon.